Greetings and welcome back to episode 3 of the Rock and Roll Geezers Show. I'm your host, Murph. So glad to see you. And like to say, of course, hello to my co host, the man with the plan, the physician with x ray vision. That would be Doc Vox. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing very well, Murph. Doing very
Excellent,
well.
man. So, what do you got going on?
Having a very rock and roll filled week.
Yes, sir.
Kind of doing this episode in between episodes, kind of. Want to pick up where we left off on our last episode. We were talking about some hidden gems, vintage albums in our collections that we felt we want to share with everybody and recommend to you. Some other things we touched on also. I'm sure many of you have heard about by now the whole Van Halen saga.
Oh, yeah.
Soap opera, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
So if you haven't, just to not to go into all the details, but just the basics of it. Jason Newsted let the cat out of the bag that there were talks about doing a tribute tour, Van Halen tribute tour with Joe Satriani, and they talked to him. He confirmed it. And David Lee Roth had some very David Lee Roth type statements to make. And so so after all that, the fallout from that, noticeably not mentioned, though, were two very big, important members of the Van Halen family, his son Wolfgang,
right,
and ex-vocalist Sammy Hagar.
Sure.
So we still haven't heard anything about Sammy in this equation. He hasn't spoken about it. Nobody's mentioned him. But Wolfgang has spoken out, and he sounds none too pleased about the whole situation, to be honest.
Oh, boy.
So he tweeted out, Wolfgang says, well, when the world is breaking down my door for a week, talking about some dumbass reunion that isn't happening and insulting me in the process,
ouch.
I feel the need to clear things up. Just let me suck with my own band and fuck off.
Whoa, that's sort of, yeah.
So that kind of raised some heat a little bit.
Yeah, I think that sort of puts a kibosh on that, I would say.
So shortly after that, he deleted that tweet and came back with another one. Says, deleted it. More trouble than it's worth. The childish arguments will continue with or without my input. Just leave me the fuck out of it. I'll always do right by Pop, and that's all that matters.
Boy, that sounds, there you go. It sounds like he's got his head on his shoulders properly, just stop it, guys, and let me do my thing.
So finally, he sends out a third and final tweet. Says, this is what my mentions have been like the past week. It's great. You're all great. Just popping in to say there is no Van Halen without Pop. And I would have to say that's the truest statement made in this whole saga.
Sure.
It's not called Van Halen because Alex is in the band. It's
right
because
Eddie.
And,
sure.
And Eddie's no longer with us, and as far as I'm concerned, that means there is no longer Van Halen.
Yeah.
So left us with a lot of great music. Leave it at that, and let's quit trying to, as you said last week, reheat a souffle and just leave it and enjoy what we have.
Absolutely. Time's too short, and the first album, the first album is so classic, so perfect. It's just wow, amazing.
Oh yeah,
amazing album.
I mean, the first. However many, 5. Fair Warning. The first one's my favorite. Fair Warning, I would have to say, is a close second. Some other fallout from this: Jason Newsted is considering no longer doing interviews. I guess he's a little bit of an uproar. He was, it was the interview that he was doing at the time was concerning he was doing benefits for art in schools, for music and art in schools.
Okay.
For schools to get supplies and whatnot.
Sure.
So that's what the interview was about, and it was 23 seconds of the Van Halen thing, and of course that's what got the attention, and so Jason's a little miffed about that, but quite honestly, what do you expect? You bring up something like, you drop a bombshell like that, I don't think anybody's going to be too concerned about your benefit at that point. So
true that. Yeah. Jeez. Oh well, yeah, I just said best to drop it. Let Wolfgang do his own thing. Exactly. And so we've got the music, so there you go.
So at this point, like I said, Eddie's no longer with us. We here at the Rock and Roll Geezers like to honor our fallen rock and roll brothers and sisters that are no longer with us.
Sure.
And with our update on our fallen brothers and sisters, what you got, Murph?
Yeah. Before we get back to the albums, we just got a couple here. If anybody remembers the group Autograph, turn up the radio.
Sure. Wonder, right?
Yeah, a one-hit wonder, but their original bassist, Randy Rand, passed on this week here. There he
Okay.
is, looking like a rock star, of course. And you're right, they were a one-hit wonder, but if he has kids, I don't know if he does, but generations to come, they'll always be able to go back and say, "Hey, at least we had one hit,"
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
So,
there's no shame in being a one-hit wonder. There are
hey,
many people attached to it.
I love that song too. That's a great song, man.
Yeah,
Great,
sure.
great guitar riffs. I love playing that song. And then we've got from Earth, Wind, and Fire, the original sax player who from the '70s, Andrew Wolfak. And what a drag,
Careful how you say that.
True that, boy. Watch out for the censors. Anyway, yeah, we'll be seeing them later on this summer,
Right.
obviously. But boy, that's two of the originals now out of there at least, right?
Yeah. So maybe I'm sure they'll make mention of that.
Hope they do, because that'll that's going to be a great show. And this cat, well, let me see. He was with them in the mid '70s. Rejoined him in '87 to '93, and he played with Denise Williams, the Let's Hear It for the Boys gal, and Phil Bailey's solo stuff, and a bunch of other stuff. So he's been all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
And he had a stroke, and you know how that goes. So that is a big shame. But there you go for this week's bummers. And now let's get to the good stuff. So Bob, back to our good LPs. So you're next in line. What do you got for us?
Yeah, just kind of picking up from last week. We were kind of talking about albums that we would like to share with everyone that maybe they don't get a chance to hear about or hear from or anything. So we went through a few of them just to recap where we've gone already. Excuse me. Mike started with Captain Beyond's debut in 1972.
Sure. That was great.
Great album. And my first pick was also from 1972, Humble Pie, Smoking.
Yeah.
Late great Steve Marriott. Then we had MC5 from 1968, their debut album, Kick Out the Jams.
Very cool.
Landmark album. Another landmark album, Stooges, 1970, Funhouse.
Right.
Then we got a live album, Live Genesis from 1973.
Killer. Yeah. Here we go. It's Afro time. Yeah, there we go. Let me line up here. There we are, right there.
Then we got Funkadelic.
Rightio. There they are. And then coming up with the Dead Boys.
Funkadelic, Maggot Brain.
Yep.
And then the Dead Boys from 1977. So picking up from there, my next album I would like to share with everyone. It's from 1972. It's the debut album. A band woefully underrated. This band, if of all the ones I'm recommending, this would be my number one to recommend.
Yeah.
I love this band. I wish I was introduced to them sooner. They did 3 albums to begin with. They did another one in the 2000s when they did a reunion. That seems to be a popular trend. But they did 3 albums in the early 70s. I'm talking about Big Star.
Big Star.
Big Star was a band fronted by Alex Chilton. If you don't know Alex Chilton, he was the guy in the Box Tops. My Baby Just Wrote Me a Letter. That song. He sang that when he was 15, 16.
What the?
So as a kind of what I gather, he kind of got a little soured on the music business and just kind of disgusted with how everything went and kind of started Big Star. And I don't know, me personally, I always kind of felt like maybe that's what kind of held him back, because he didn't want to play the games of the music business and kind of on their own. But
I can understand
this is an unbelievable album, just unbelievable. I know there's no hits on it. The only song you might vaguely know is the theme from that 70s show. And of course, it's the whole song on here.
It's hanging out
right
down the street. I'll be darned. How about that?
So that's on. That's the 3rd track on there. The 4th track, there's a song called 13. It's just gorgeous. This was listen to Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time.
406 song of all time. Okay. That's good. And what kills me, I've never heard of these guys. And they, the record itself, the first record, is 474th out of Rolling Stones top 500 of all time. Of all time. And nobody's heard of them. What's going on here?
They're a fabulous band. Very dare I say, Beatle-esque.
Yeah,
Melodies, harmonies are second to none. Harmonies are haunting and just hits you in every part right here. It just, as I say, it's Alex Chilton, Chris Bell, were the main songwriters, kind of Lennon McCartney-ish. But in their songwriting, they didn't share credits. They each had kind of their own songs, but they did share in the songwriting, so they kind of had their own arrangement.
Well, yeah. Apparently,
song 13.
Well, let me say, apparently, one of them would come in and lay down, basically a bunch of tracks, and then leave, and the other one would come in and then arrange and add their flavor and just back and forth that way, one at a time, boom, 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 and they end up.
If you look on the album, they're credited to only one of them. Like one song will be credited to Alex Chilton, the next song will be credited to Chris Bell. I don't know how they worked out that arrangement, but nonetheless, they left us with a lot of great music. Alex Chilton died, I don't want to get the wrong date, early 2000s, I want to say 05-ish, but influenced a lot of bands, influenced the Replacements, REM.
Wow, that's crazy.
A lot of bands that
that's
from
a true
the alternative
gem.
kind of side of things.
That's a true gem, man. Unbelievable. I've never heard of them.
That's a great album.
Stunned.
It's not hard. It's just rock and roll and it's pop. I feel like anybody would like this album. Truly, I think this is my number one recommended album that I recommend.
Unbelievable. Yeah. How cool.
Love this
okay,
album.
Man. Let me throw a crazy album at you. And that would be none other than, let me get it up here. That would be the Tubes. Right here. I got it. The Tubes. What a great album. San Francisco band, formed in 1972. Out of a couple of bands who immigrated from Arizona. They got together in San Francisco and formed the Tubes. And it's just a crazy good album. Produced by Al Cooper. And Al Cooper is legendary.
Oh, yeah. He's tons of legends.
Tons of great songs on it. It's just Mondo Bondage. What Do You Want From Life? And the great one, the big one is, of course, White Punks on Dope. That's like one of the great songs ever. Hang myself when I get enough rope, Jeez, there you go. But a really great quirky album. They've got a song on there. It's in Spanish, and just a great song. They've got great diversity, and they recently lost one of their backup singers, one of the Tubettes. I can't remember her name, but all these folks are getting up in age. I believe she was 72. I mean, what do you do? They're all getting up in age. The Tubes, I believe, are still touring,
and they have never stopped since 72 or whenever they started.
Fee Waybill. I'm not sure if he's still doing his Quaalude character, where he wears about foot-high platform shoes and
18 inches.
Okay,
inches,
foot and a half.
I saw an interview with him. 18-inch heels. Platform.
Oh, that is crazy, but it's a great album. If you get a chance to check it out, the Tubes. You'll really enjoy it.
The Tubes. That album was 75. I want to say. You got the date on that?
The Tubes released in 1975. Yes, sir.
Yes. The song "White Punks on Dope." So immediately, it's connected with the punk movement, but it wasn't. It was going on simultaneously, but it was separate and different in its very own way. The Tubes were very theatrical, almost to the point where the theatrics were more than the music. Like I said, he had several characters. He had Quaalude. I can't even think of some of the other ones, but he had some kind of cowboy character. He'd come out sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
He had just all these characters. He'd come out. He was very theatrical, but the music would back it up, man. These guys.
These guys were all very good.
Two drummers. They had, like 4 guitar players. There's just tons of guys on stage.
It was crazy.
And just very entertaining. Yeah, very
And of course, later on, they came out with the She's a Beauty. That hit there.
Right. That was their big.
But and this album reached 113th in the U.S. chart. So it wasn't really a big winner, but you could listen to it now. You'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a fun album.
Okay, Doc. What's shooting, man? What do you got coming up?
Next, we have this is an album. This band. This is not a band that you're gonna say, "Oh, wow, I never heard of them before." But we'll just go right into it. Dire Straits.
Dire Straits. Making movies.
Everybody pretty much knows Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing, Money for Nothing, off the Brothers in Arms album. But between those two albums, they made some other albums, and this was one of them.
Sure.
And it's just phenomenal. Mark Knopfler is a virtuoso. And I think he has the unique ability where there's not many people that are a virtuoso that can write lyrics like that as well, where they just have the whole picture of the finished song that they, I'm not sure how I want to say it, but what I mean? They just know from musically and lyrically both melding in their minds what they want. There's just not a whole lot that can do that. First Size just got 3 songs on it, but they're gems. They're perfect. Song Romeo and Juliet is probably my favorite song on the album. It's just almost Springsteen-like lyrics, very cinematic storytelling type lyrics, but with that virtuoso guitar, and he just plays it perfectly. At this point, Dire Straits were just a 3-piece. They were a trio, but they did have, speaking of Springsteen, they did have his piano player, Professor Roy Bittan, played piano on this album. But great album. I don't think many people think about it when you think of Dire Straits. You think it's maybe a couple other albums, but don't overlook this one. It's a great album.
It made it up to number 19 in the USA on the Billboard charts. Released in October.
That came out 1980.
1980. Yeah. And he used the Stratocaster too, and he's one of the players that really got the most out of a Strat. I mean, you could really tell it's a Strat, by the way, just an amazing sound that he got through right from the beginning, right out of the gate.
Yeah, he's got a very unique tone for sure.
Oh man, you can only get that tone on a Strat, and boy, he's something else, man. Right out of the gate with his first.
I will
hit.
Say the last song on the album is kind of a clunker. It's kind of every album's got a clunker, but other than that, it's a great album. What you got next, Murph?
Downer. Well, I'm taking back to the 70s here. Released in 1970, group out of Fort Worth, Texas. Produced by Terry Knight, the same producer of
Grand Funk.
Grand Funk Railroad. And as a matter of fact, they toured with Grand Funk Railroad back in the day, and that would be Blood Rock. Here we go right here, Blood Rock 2. This is Blood Rock 2. This is crazy good album. Well, I had an album, but now it's a CD. But jeez, it's hard. Just hard rock with an organ sound, basically. The first album, great. Then this album itself gave them their biggest hit, which would be DOA. Any stoners back in the 70s would probably remember DOA because it got played on FM stations, and but the whole doohickey right out of the gate, Lucky in the Morning, Cheater, Sable and Pearls, Fallen, those 4 songs right out of the gate are perfect. You got to listen to this. This is really some good stuff, really great rock and roll. But DOA is a really downer song with sirens and whatnot. And the thing is, a couple of the band members went for a plane ride and they got out, and the guy took off to leave, and he got up about 200 feet and flipped over and crashed, killed himself. He got killed. So they wrote a song about it, and it's DOA, and it's really, it's a dreadful song, but it's so cool. But then again, that was the 70s. As I remind you now, it
was a very, very much a different time for sure.
It was a different time, a different, existence. It's a great album, great CD, Blood Rock 2. Check it out. Yeah, you really won't regret it if you like good rock and roll. It's really excellent. And what do you got there, Doc?
I gotta say, I got you a big star. You got me with Blood Rock. I don't know much on Blood Rock other than they put out about 4 albums, I think.
Well, let me see. They put out their first 3, and then the 4th was a live album recorded at the International Amphitheater in Chicago.
Okay.
And I think they might have put out a few more after that, but they just sort of fizzled. But check out the album. It's a real check out all of their work. Actually, it's really excellent.
All right, I shall.
Excellent.
All right, and for my last pick. So as we were doing this list, I'm trying to think of great albums and ones that influenced me that I want to share with other people. One came up that if you like this guy, you like him. If you don't know him. I can put it that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just kind of maybe standoffish, he's kind of strange, but I love this album, Frank Zappa, Apostrophe. It came out in 1974. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with Frank Zappa's music, other than Valley Girl, I guess was his only hit.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if you want to get introduced to it, this is a great one to whet your Zappetite. This would be a great one to.
Did you say Zappetite?
Zappetite, sure.
Outstanding. Well
Absolutely.
done.
You gotta whet your Zappetite a little bit. It's got some of the funny songs, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow and Stinkfoot and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we listened to all those back, and that was always a quirky. I don't know. We kept listening to it, so pretty decent. That's
it's a it's a bit of a Stoners album, a little bit.
St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This
album was done. Well, this was Frank Zappa's 18th album. This is 1974.
This was fifth album, fifth solo album. Yeah, fifth solo album. 18.
But including Mothers of Invention, this is the 18th album. So when did the first Mother 66 came out?
Gosh, good question. You've stumped me.
66, 67. Definitely, I don't believe it was 65. My point being, in 9 years, 18 albums, 2 albums a year, every year for 9 years.
With all them arrangements and all that mind-blowing stuff. It's like, wow.
I think a lot of people think with Zappa, maybe you're kind of afraid to grab a Zappa album. You don't know what you're going to get. He's this insane jazz bow genius.
Oh yeah.
Is it gonna be classical? Is it gonna be pop? Is it gonna be rock? What's this album gonna be?
And all those low vocals.
But
he had 17 musicians on this album. That's crazy.
So it's kind of a sister album with another album I got here. I almost picked this one, but either one, they kind of go hand in hand with me. Overnight Sensation.
Yes.
They were recorded kind of together. They were kind of sister.
Well, side one of Apostrophe was recorded with the in the same session they did the whole Overnight Sensation. They did side one of Apostrophe. But yeah, how about that? Those 2 albums are crazy good.
Yeah, and those I think that was when he was kind of really at the peak of his game, really.
Yeah, you're right.
Zappa heads might pick another era, but for me,
Shake Your Booty's pretty good, though.
Shake Your Booty's pretty good. Yeah. Joe's Garage. There's a lot of good. I have tons of
crying out loud.
I have over 20 Frank Zappa albums, and that's not even scratching the surface of what he's got. I think he's got over 70 albums. He's really
couldn't say where she's coming from, but it just made a lid named Dynamo.
Yeah, that's on Overnight Sensation, sure.
Boom.
One thing I wanted to bring up, a lot of people don't know, a little trivia.
What's that?
During these sessions, he has backup singers. As you said, there's like 17 musicians. He's got backup singers. So he's getting the musicians from all over the place. So backup singers, they kind of call an agency and say, hey, we need 3 black female singers, send them over.
Right.
And among those that came over, surprisingly enough, she was a little down on her luck at the time, was Tina Turner.
Tina Turner, yes. Tina Turner, Debbie Wilson, and someone else. Yeah, Tina Turner.
And the Ikettes. Yeah, the Ikettes, they were the 3.
And they got paid scale.
They got paid scale. Yeah, it was like $25 an hour. Which,
hey, well, no,
that's damn good money.
Actually, Ike wanted them to be paid nothing more than $25 an hour, but they got paid a little more. They got paid for 7.5 hours work. I think they got paid $187 each. So a righteous bucks back then, nonetheless. But there you go, man.
So this, you don't think of our icons in that way, but she definitely hit on hard times, during that point. Yeah. And had yet to have her rebirth in the 80s. And, hey.
Got to do what you got to do. Yeah, mouths to feed.
She's not credited on the album. It's uncredited, but
right.
It's definitely her on there. And it's fun to listen to when you think, wow, it's her singing these goofy Frank Zappa lyrics, man. That's hilarious.
That's very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Excellent choice, man.
All right, buddy. Bring us home, Murph.
Let's finish it out, man. We got a band. Oh, geez, this album was released in 1977. It's this band's third album, produced by Roger Glover. Who would that be?
Oh, Deep Purple's bass player.
There you go, Deep Purple's bass player, and the drummer on this album was Simon Phillips, who's played with Jeff Beck, Gary Moore, The Who, Zappa, Toto. A really great drummer and a great band, and that would be none other than Judas Priest, Sin After Sin.
Nice.
This album is just so good. Yeah, they got all AM-ish. Well, not AM-ish, but their songs got real easy. Their songs got really easy. In the later days now, the breaking the law and all this silly stuff. But Sin After Sin. Now they had their first album was Rock-a-Rolla. Second album was Sad Wings of Destiny, which itself is a really, really good album. A lot of good songs on that, but they really hit their stride on Sin After Sin, their third album. It's just an amazing album. The song list on here is beautiful. It includes Diamonds and Rust, which is of course a song by
Neil Young.
No. Diamonds and Rust is by Joan Baez.
Oh, what am I thinking?
You're thinking of Rust.
Rust Never Sleeps.
Okay, nonetheless, but the two songs in themselves, a Sinner and Let Us Pray, are Judas Priest at their very best. This ain't your sit back and the easy chords and all that. These guys really put it all on the line on those two songs alone. And then of course they've got a couple of slow songs. Last Rose of Summer. You actually get to hear Rob Halford's mellow voice singing a mellow song, and it's really quite outstanding. Right. And like I said, you got Diamonds and Rust and Here Comes the Tears, and nothing, just heavy and slow and crazy and dissident and aggressive. It's just I think one of their very best, and I'm really glad to have this in my collection. I've got a lot of probably the first five, but once they started going with the easy chords and stuff, I just sort of lost interest. I actually heard these guys on Beaker Street, that station I was talking about a show or two ago, out of Little Rock, Arkansas. They were playing Judas Priest, and that's where I got the impetus to pick up. So I picked up Sad Wings and Sin After Sin, and they're both just outstanding albums. So that is my final pick for the show, is Sin After Sin.
Yeah, Judas Priest. I think like most people, I caught on the Judas Priest with British Steel. That was kind of the album that got me first knowing about them. And then I kind of went back. A buddy had Sad Wings of Destiny, so I was familiar with that. Oh, yeah. But Sin After Sin, I didn't get familiar with till much later. But that's their first major label album.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the first two they weren't getting pushed enough, in terms of marketing. The label wasn't pushing them enough, so they got to a new label, and boy, Sin After Sin, they went right out of the gate. Boom! Just a beautiful, great, power, heavy. Geez, the writing was really top notch. Like I say, Let Us Pray and Sinner. Check those two out right out of the gate, and it'll just blow your mind. That's all. That's how it is. Fabulous. That's what it is. Outstanding, Doc.
Hope everybody found some merit to some of our suggestions, some of our picks for hidden gems in our vintage record collections. If you have any you'd like to share with us, we'd love to read them in the comments. Now we're just starting off. We don't have a whole lot of subscribers. Hopefully one day we will, and you'll look back on this and you can add to it too. Sure. Anything you'd like to add on to it, we would love to read, love to hear, and comment on. So
absolutely. Thanks a lot, Doc. And absolutely be sure to subscribe. There should be a button coming up at the end of the video here with Mr. Natural on it. Just hit the Mr. Natural and subscribe if you would. And we'll see you next time, Doc. How's that?
Sure. We'll be back in this is a short week. We'll be back in just a few days with our next episode. So
can't wait, man.
I think you like it.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Doc. And this is Murph and Doc signing off from the RnRGzrs show. Thank you very much.
Have a great rock and roll filled week.